Right then, hello and welcome back to the Football Rundown. We're obviously here with the post-match reaction to Stockport County's win over Shrewsbury Town. I've got to be honest, that was shit, wasn't it? Let's just call a spade a spade. It is a 1-0 win for Stockport County. It's not as comfortable as as we expected it to be. Not as comfortable as it probably should have been. It's not the kind of performance you'd expect from a team which is in the playoff places against a team which found themselves bottom of the table. I don't think the results around them tonight have helped them have any more of a chance of getting out of that either. So it was just a poor performance. I think considering that we won the game, it's a poor performance. I think. Um, so in terms of wins, that's got to be one of the worst ways to win a game. And it kind of follows on from Saturday, really, where, okay, we win the game against Crawley. Yeah, we get a clean sheet against Crawley, but it felt like we went a goal up or goal two up in that game on Saturday. And after that, it was just a really, really flat performance. And I felt like that today. I felt like it was a really, really slow start. There wasn't that much in the first half, other than that Norwood free kick, which was a brilliant free kick. And maybe that's why you give a player of that age the contract that you do, because he can deliver moments like that. He has the experience of, playing top flight football behind him. Um, but yeah, I just think that it was a really flat performance. As I say, not a lot going on. We had a couple of moments, maybe late on in the first half, maybe a couple of bright moments in the beginning of the second half, but it was a really, really flat performance for the most part, and obviously slightly out of our control as well. Some things happen in the game that always will affect the rhythm of the football match, and obviously I'm alluding to, I think it was Morgan Feeney who went off for them. He was on the floor for what felt like, I think it was 11 minutes in the end, which is a lengthy time for a player. Obviously, no one has control of that. They couldn't get him off the pitch because of the situation. They didn't want to move him and sort of move him in the wrong way and cause more injury to him, more harm to him. I think that was the situation anyway. So obviously they were trying to be careful with that. Hence why it took so long. And look, we can appreciate that because we were in that situation with Horsford a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, it's frustrating. You want to play, you want to keep the game going, you want to keep the flow of the game there. But sometimes these things happen, and it's just one of those things. As I say, Stuart said, hope that injured lad will be okay. Hate to see any player injured, and I echo that. Obviously we are all hoping that he'll be okay. And it's a tough one for Shrewsbury as well, because I think he'd been very solid for him at the back up until that moment, and that's not just the problem for today. As I said before, it's a problem from the running of the rest of this season. I suppose the good thing for Shrewsbury is that there's still a couple of days left of the window, so they can make an emergency signing if they even have time to now. But obviously the main concern is hopefully that Feeney will be okay, and there's nothing. But hopefully it's not as bad as it looks, because it did look awful. And as I say, it did take a long time for him to get off that pitch. They obviously being very, very careful about it, so that naturally affects the flow of the game. Of course it does, but I think it was also quite flat before that, and that only made it, a sort of more flatter performance. But look, positive is 3 points, another clean sheet. It is that three in a row which we were looking for. It is that, I suppose, a form of momentum. Even if it might not feel like it with the performances. I put it this way: the way we played against Crawley on Saturday and the way we played against Shrewsbury tonight, you won't get away with playing like that against Leyton Orient and getting 3 points away from home on Saturday. So I think that's pretty obvious to me. Having looked at it, I think we probably got away with one a little bit. I mean, it's a strange one as well, because I don't really think that they had anything in the game. There was nothing from Shrewsbury for a large spell of that game that made me think, oh, there's a threat here. Similar to Crawley, except those last maybe 10 minutes of normal time where Shrewsbury did really start to throw a little bit at us, and we were a little bit on the back foot. And I just thought to myself, we've got to be careful here, because if we go and let them score, do we have it in us to go and get a second and go and win the game? And that's a concern in itself. Is I don't think this team has enough in them to go on and score goals. Like, we don't kick on, we're not ruthless enough, we're not clinical enough, and we had the same problem on Saturday. And 2-0 looks better than 1-0, of course it does, but that 2-0 game, that should have been more. That should have been a lot more than 2 goals on Saturday. And it should have been more than 1-0 today. But to be honest, Shrewsbury were absolutely poor, absolutely shocking, and a half decent side would have put them away a lot more convincingly, than we did. As I say, they weren't really in the game until the last sort of 10 minutes of normal time. But the fact that we allowed them to play that poorly for 70, 80 minutes and only be a goal between us says a lot about how we didn't finish the game, which we should have done. But anyway, I'm going to have to comment. Stuart said we got lucky. Charlie bollocksed up the formation. It was a formation change that gave them a chance. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what I would say is we have been playing that sort of 3-5-2, and I think the one thing that we do lack with a 3-5-2 is that width. That width in attack. It almost feels like the two sort of wing backs are they're just sort of dragging players out so we can play more centrally. It doesn't feel like we've really got that width in attacking areas for like I say, this system, for example, you couldn't play Louis Barry in this system, a player which is going to look to cut in with pace from the left hand side. So that is the only problem with the front two. Is I feel like we don't have enough players that can get you off the edge of your seat and cause problems from the wide areas. But the first half was poor. Yeah, the first half hour was poor. Yeah, right up until the goal, right up until that Norwood free kick, and then I think we had one or two chances, if I remember correctly. And then second half we started fairly decently, but then after that we didn't take our chances, and then it became a bit of a sort of poor game, and then eventually we allowed Shrewsbury in to have a couple of chances themselves. Just going to have a quick look at the stats as well. 57% possession, so we knew we were going to have a lot of the ball. We knew that Shrewsbury, I think, had the second lowest amount of possession, average possession in the league going into this game. We did dominate the ball. We did have a lot more shots than them, but not many more on target. We had 9 shots, just 3 on target. Shrewsbury had 3 shots all game, but 2 on target. So we didn't really get enough at their goal, and I think that's the disappointing thing. You can have all the ball and all the possession you want, but we need to be creating more chances, and we need to be, taking those chances, quite frankly. The keeper kept them in it. Big saves from Caldini and Watts. Big saves from Caldini and Watts could have easily been 3-0 up. I thought that keeper was actually, I think he made some really good stops. I think some of the headers were right at him in the first half. Was it late on in the first half? I think we had a header which was straight at him from Wotton. But after that, I did think their keeper made some good saves, and I do agree. Stuart said, yeah, their keeper looked quite good. He probably did keep him in the game a lot more. Had he not been in goal, had they had maybe someone a little bit more not as good as he was, then maybe some of those headers do go in. But ultimately, we didn't get enough on those headers to deserve for it to be a goal. Who did Dave think Watts was flicking it onto with just one up front? That's what I mean. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure why we decided to maybe do that, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, we managed to win the game, I suppose. But I just think we could have won that game by a bigger margin, and we could have won it by looking a bit more exciting. To be honest, I hold my hands up. It's been a long day, but I actually started to fall asleep. Points near the end of that game, so. Some of it I probably don't even remember. I think I woke up and not woke up, but I sort of opened my eyes again as they started to launch balls into our penalty area, which they did quite a lot in those last 10 minutes. And I was just sort of hoping it didn't score. And obviously, luckily for us, they didn't. But the fact that we're putting ourselves in a position where we're against bottom of the table and we're only, we're late on in the game and we're hoping they don't, equalise. It says that we haven't killed the game, and it says that we're lacking that quality. And we almost certainly do need a new centre forward. Look, if we're going to be playing a front two most of the season, if that's the plan now without Barry, then we need a centre forward that can score goals. Irrespective of whether or not we need someone to start, we need someone to be a backup, because there's no way you can play 2 up top and only have 3 strikers. I don't think that's going to last the season. John Kay said Rydell might go out on loan. Short memory, Dave. I didn't hear that because I didn't have the commentary on for that. But I'd be stunned if we loaned out Ryan Rydell with the with Adaramola going back to Crystal Palace, unless we're looking at bringing a left back. But I don't get why we keep loaning these players out and then having to replace these players. Like, I don't understand it. Well, it's like Sam Hughes, for example. Sam Hughes has gone out on loan, and now we need to bring in a centre back. We probably didn't need to bring in a centre back before Sam Hughes went out on loan. And Challinor did this interview, or he spoke in his interview about the reasons as to why Sam Hughes was loaned out. He talked about maybe how he made the move. He got injured. I think he got ill. Then he had a bereavement in the family, I think, and then he was settling back in to this area, of sort of England. And he talks about the difficulties he's had settling in. And you go, okay, all this makes sense as to why he maybe has struggled to hit the ground running at County, but then it doesn't make sense to then send him to the other side of the country pretty much when he's going to have to go through all that again. So I don't think that made any sense to be listening to it. When I was listening to him say it, I was like, I was empathizing with the situation, and then it's like, well, but the outcome doesn't make sense. Why would you then go and loan a player out and make him go through all that again at another club for 6 months? Doesn't make any sense to me. And now we're in a position where we've got to bring in a centre back when we probably didn't need that before, and we could have prioritised other positions. But it's definitely got to be centre back that's got to come in now, and then obviously a centre forward, hopefully to follow shortly after. Barry to Hull on loan, while big club not. Yeah, disappointed about that one, to be honest. I mean, obviously he's not our player now. I suppose we've got to get up and get on with it. But I was disappointed to see him go to Hull because last time I checked, I could be wrong, but I think there were just a couple of points from the relegation zone. I think it was 2 points when I checked. Could be wrong. It doesn't really scream to me a massive opportunity to go and prove yourself, because the problem is with him going to Hull, they're in a relegation battle. They shouldn't be in a relegation battle. I think they just missed out on the playoffs last season. So something's gone wrong this season. I think they fired the manager. It's not gone particularly that well. I don't see the appeal to it. As I say, it was disappointing to see him go, but we almost got over it because it was like, okay, but he's going to go on to better things. He's going to go to a Sunderland. He's going to go to a Leeds. He's going to go to a Middlesbrough. He's going to go to somewhere that is fighting at the top in the Championship. And Hull just isn't that. I mean, I think he's going to struggle at Hull as well because hopefully I'm wrong, but they're defending for their lives. They've got to stay in the division. They don't have the time to allow a luxury player almost like Louis Barry and get the best out of him, because he is a luxury player. He doesn't work very well off the ball. He's very much a player. You give him the ball and he'll score your goals. I don't know if Hull are set up for him to come in and do that. I don't think they'll be able to give him the freedom that he's had at County. So I am a little bit concerned about how his dip in form could occur at Hull, and I actually think it could end up devaluing the player, which goes against completely what Aston Villa wanted to do. To be honest, from an Aston Villa point of view, I hope it does devalue him, because that would then say, look, you got it wrong, Villa. You should have kept him where he was. Because also looking at it as well, Stuart's saying here, Celtic bid 10 million for Barry and Villa said no, even though Barry said that's where he wanted to go. Lunacy. So he's worth 10 million, right? Now, players at the bottom of the Championship, good players at the bottom of the Championship, are not even worth 10 million. For example, Morgan Whittaker's just gone to Plymouth for 6 million. So what would Louis Barry be worth? What I'm saying is, he was already worth 10 million. So he's not going to. How much is his value going to go up at Hull from 10 million? Do you know what I mean? What does he have to do at Hull to be worth more than what he is at the moment? That's the question I would probably put to him. But anyway, look, that's the decision that Aston Villa have made. It's an interesting one, and hopefully it does work out for him. I wish him the best. Obviously, he's been fantastic at the club for Stockport County. He's now a Hull player. I just don't get it. Hughes was captain for the Posh tonight. Dave needs to wake up. I don't understand. I mean, I've not looked at the result. Did they lose 5-1 again? No, they won 1-0. Decent 1-0 win. But it just doesn't make sense why you would loan him out, in my opinion. Because now you've got to go and bring in the centre-back. Normally you loan players out when you're a little bit full in that area of the pitch and, those players aren't getting game time. He's got a very good chance of getting game time with Horsfall being out injured and with us playing a back three. So I don't really understand that. Fiorini kind of get a little bit more, I suppose. I mean, I would have given him a couple more minutes, to be honest. But if you don't rate him, he don't rate him, whatever. He's not even starting for Dundee, by the way. I put the Dundee Rangers game on Sunday. I think it was Sunday morning, in the hope that he might start. I thought maybe I'd see what he can do. he was on the bench for that one. So he's not even playing for Dundee at this point in time. Maybe it's because he's just signed, who knows? But the optics are not great. I know. Let's sign Rashford long. I mean, I don't think anyone wants Rashford at this point in time, do they? I think he said he wants to move on to a new challenge. It would be a challenge at Stockport County, don't get me wrong, but I think he's dreaming of going to Barcelona. And all I would say is, I'm not going to correct him on that. It's definitely a dream. It's not going to be a reality, I don't think. I also don't think he cut it. I don't think he would smash it up like I think some people think he actually would. I don't think the desire's there. So I think there's more chance of Louis Barry winning the World Cup with England than Marcus Rashford smashing it up anywhere for the rest of his career now, unless it's in Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that. But anyway, back to County tonight. As I say, flat performance. Hopefully it's better on Saturday. I think it's got to be if we want to get a result from it. Just have a quick look at the results elsewhere as well, because I think some of them have gone quite well for us. Having a quick look at it here. Birmingham beat Huddersfield, which is decent, because maybe you would have wanted a draw ideally, but let's face it, we're not catching up with Birmingham, are we? So Huddersfield dropping points is a positive, because that is a reachable position. A reachable position, is that a word? Or sentence? I'm making it one. Wickham beat Barnsley 2-1. There was a send-off in that game for Barnsley. I wonder if it was a straight red for Barnsley. I wonder if that's going to be... That could affect the player playing against us in a couple of weeks' time, potentially. I'm not sure. What else did we have happen in League One? Here we go. I've just seen this result as we're coming. Oh, by the way, Leyton Orient beat Exeter 6-2, so that's not great. If they're scoring goals for fun in that game, we're going to struggle. If they're scoring goals like that, and we're not scoring goals at the moment, are we? We're not looking particularly ruthless in front of goal. So they won 6-2. Interesting. Wrexham lost 3-2. So everything I said before about how it's unlikely that they'll lose, don't listen to me. They've gone and lost again. That's a concern, surely. They've lost to Shrewsbury, then they've lost to Stevenage within a couple of weeks. I think they've lost a couple of other games as well that they shouldn't have done. Maybe Wrexham aren't all that. There's a thought for you. AC Milan want him. Their tea lady retired recently. I think they brought in Cal Walker to that, haven't they? As well as keep the female staff company, by all accounts. I don't think Rashford will be going anywhere near Stockport County. Although he probably should. He'll know the area. But yeah, I don't think I actually don't think he cut it. I'm being serious when I say that. I think in terms of left hand side, I think we've done with that position. I think Hamilton is that signing. He didn't come off the bench, did he? I didn't miss that. So yeah, I'm not sure really what. I think I said it. I can't remember what game it was. I think it was the first Reading game of the season, the first time we played them, and I think I did it in my preview. I think the title was something along the lines of "Lost in Transition," and what I meant was, us adapting to life in League One, we've probably lost ourselves a little bit. And I sort of look at it now, and I still think we're kind of in that phase where it's like the results have been a little bit hit and miss. Sometimes we've gone a little bit of a good run, then sometimes we've gone a bit of a bad run. We're on a decent run, but purely by looking at results over the last couple of games, we won 3 in a row, which is a positive. But we still look a little bit lost in terms of how we want to play, what formation we want to go with, what kind of players we want to be playing within that. So hopefully we can find ourselves a little bit, because we do look a little bit lost at this point in time. Joking aside, that new guy got 0 minutes, ditto our Icelandic boy wonder. I mean, the club did say that when they signed him, didn't they? They did say that he's not expected to play a lot of minutes, if any. It was more of a development signing. I think he's probably found himself on the bench more than the manager would have wanted or expected, because of maybe we wanted to bring in a centre forward and that hasn't materialised yet. So maybe that's why he's been on the bench. Maybe we're not even really wanting to play him at this point in time. But we'll see what happens with him. I'm disappointed because when a team, particularly, look, everyone wants to see a new signing play. Same with Hamilton as well. But particularly when a team is performing quite flat, like we have been the last couple of games, you want to see those new signings to see if there's something they can offer that we don't already have in our side. And I think certainly with Benoni, I think there's a lot of intrigue around him because it's a foreign player. We're not used to that. He's come directly from another country. We're not quite sure what we're going to get. So obviously there's intrigue around that, and obviously fans want to see him play, and obviously that's disappointing that we're not seeing that yet, especially when we're not scoring goals. It's almost like, well, Mutton's not cutting it, Tanto's not cutting it at this point in time. Why not see a bit more of him? I kind of get it, at the same time though, if you're actually the manager, but from a fan's point of view, you want to see him play. Tanto on loan, he needs freshening up, looks off the pace. I don't agree with you on this. I really don't. I think the best way for him to get back up to pace is by starting for Stockport County, unless they've got Robert Lewandowski ready to come in on loan to end the season. Then why would you loan out Tanto? It'd be another player. We already need a centre forward as it is, but if you loan Tanto out, then you need then you need two centre forwards to come in before the window closes. Giving ourselves more to do, so I wouldn't do that if I'm being honest. The last thing you want to do, right, in this moment in time, is loan out a centre forward. We used to have two Finland internationals. It's not new. I need to reread this. Sorry. We used to have two Finland internationals. It's not new. Take international players. No, but it's always interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's like even in the Premier League, if Premier League side signs another Premier League player, it's like, well, we know what we're getting with him. He's Premier League proven. When they sign a player from abroad, it's a little bit like it can go 50-50. There's been some great players play abroad. They go to the Premier League and then don't cut it. So it's kind of one of those where when you sign a player from another league, there's always that, what's he going to be like? Can he cut it in this league? And I think I know the time period you're referring to. Was it the early 2000s, late 90s? When we had those two Finland internationals. I think one of them might have been a goalkeeper. I definitely heard about this before, though. But yeah. Yes, we need a striker, but Tanto isn't cutting it. But the thing is, we know he can, and if you loan him out, then you need two centre forwards before the window closes. And we've made it hard work for ourselves getting one. So I wouldn't loan Tanto out. I think there's a player in there. Out of all the players we've got at the club, he's won the ones with the highest potential going forward. So I think we've just got to give him a little bit of time. If you remember, his first 6 months was difficult as well. He came in, January 2023? He had a difficult first couple of months. Then I think he started to he hit the ground running early in that second season, didn't he? He was a striker. Shefty, Kuki, and Jarko Wiss. Jarko Wiss was midfield. I'm no goalkeeper then. Shows what I know. But yeah, I think, as I say, it's always interesting when you bring in a foreign player. It's like if we brought in an Italian midfielder now, we'd all be thinking, what the next Pirlo? Who's this? Whereas if you bring in a very good midfielder from your own league, it's almost like it doesn't get the same buzz around it in some ways. Talking of midfielders, though, Ollie Norwood, I think it's only fair we hype him up on this. One hell of a free kick tonight, to be honest. And for it to go over the wall like it did, but for it to go right in the far corner, there's nothing the goalkeeper's doing about it. It was a fantastic free kick, and I actually said when he was stepping over, I said 1-0 there. The thing is, I always do that from a set piece. It's corner free kick. I always go, look, 1-0 there. Look, we'll score. And I kind of said it like I always do, not thinking it's actually going to happen, and it did happen. So, fantastic free kick, and it's just disappointing in some ways that was the difference, between us and Shrewsbury. Because I know we're better than that. I know that we should have won that game by more. They didn't. It's not even like they turned up and they gave a really good fight and put up a really good account of themselves. They were really, really poor, and we just didn't create enough chances. We just didn't take those chances as well. That the few that we did create. We also had Louis Cavaco. Portuguese midfielder, famously scored for us against West Ham away, 96-97 League Cup. An encyclopedia of Stockport County knowledge there. But yeah, as I say, disappointing today. Disappointing today. Don't want to be negative as well because it is still a win at the end of the day. It's still a clean sheet. I think that's 2 back-to-back clean sheets now, which is good for Ben Hinchliffe. Like I said, it's good for the defence as a whole. Shows that they're doing very well. That's going to breed confidence for them. Callum Connolly as well, by the way, winning that free kick like he did. What kind of a run is he going on there? I don't know, but anyway, yeah, I thought, fair play to him. He is coming to this. He is coming into his own in the absence of Fraser Horsfall. I think the problem that you're going to have with Connolly is he's looking very good as a central defender in a back three, but as soon as he goes back to play right at centre half again, once Horsfall's back in the side, I think you'll see those struggles that he was having, and I just think that sometimes people think, oh, well, you're a centre back, you can play wherever as a centre back, and I think there's actually a big difference between being central and being on the wide areas of being a centre back in a back three. So yeah, I think it is interesting. I think we're looking a lot more comfortable. People are saying how good Connolly's playing in the centre of a back three, but I think that's also made up a lot by the fact he's got Noyle on the right hand side now with that pace, which is massively helpful. So as a combination, they're playing very well. It's not just that Connolly's improved. I think he's been helped by having that recovery pace from Noyle. So yeah, like I say, it's just a bit disappointing game. I don't think anyone particularly stood out other than Norwood, obviously with the free kick and some intelligent passes at times as well, which were made to look very simple but very effective. I think the most impressive one, I don't know why I was so impressed with it, was when he found the pass to Ibi Toure down the left, and we probably should have scored, just because of how simple it was. But yeah, anyway, I think we'll probably call it there. It's been nearly half an hour. It's not been the most eventful game to talk about. I think we've done well to get a half an hour from it, even if we spent 10 minutes talking about players that don't even play here anymore. So yeah, we will be doing the preview for the game on Saturday. That'll be out on probably Thursday evening, usually when it goes out. Obviously, if there's any transfers that come between now and Saturday, we'll try and talk about it if we can. But yeah, I just want to also as well, vlog is going to be back on Saturday as well for Leyton Orient away, so that'll go out at some point Saturday night / Sunday morning when I get back as usual. So hopefully everyone has enjoyed it. Don't forget to like it, of course. Do subscribe if you're not already, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully you'll have a good evening, rest of evening. Not sure anyone will really be doing anything at 10:15 at Tuesday night, but anyway, hopefully everyone has hopefully everyone sleeps well. That's a better way of putting it. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully see you guys in the next one with the match preview against Leyton Orient on Thursday. Final point though, transfer window closes February the 2nd. I thought it was the 3rd, so thanks for that, Stuart. So still a couple of days to go, then hopefully a bit more business can be done. As I say, I do expect 2 players to come in between now and the window closing. So let's keep an eye on that one. As I say, we will be reacting to any transfers that do happen on this channel. And yeah, we'll leave it on there. So yeah, big thanks to everyone who has tuned in. And I'll see you guys in the next one with the match preview. Thanks for watching.